What is going on, my friends? What's up? It's week 5. Week 5. Can you believe it, guys? Week 5. We are cruising into week 5 of the college football season, and I got my buddy Mike, the real McCoy, hanging out there at Maximum Performance. I know you got some guys out there you're about ready to go train, so we got to hurry this thing up so you can get back out there and get those boys in shape. But for now, we got to talk a little Alabama football as they get ready to go on the road in a tough environment against a pretty darn good Arkansas team. Let's go.
Let's go now. Let's go now. Can't stop us. Let's go now.
And we got to give a big shout out to our sponsors, the Alabama Cattlemen's Association, because beef, it's what's for dinner. And we love some good steaks, some burgers, all the things. Okay, so Mike McCoy, Alabama, 4-0 on the season. Pretty good performance against Vanderbilt, 55-3. I'll go ahead and call it now. I gave Vanderbilt too much credit. I'll just go ahead and say it. I mean, you called it. You told me that was a little way too much credit. But Vanderbilt is a much improved team. However, and Alabama handled its business. And we got to start off the top. Nick Saban was all smiles after that game. And I know the reason he was all smiles is because Alabama finally played its first complete game of football of the season. Something that you, my friend, pointed out last week, especially when you were talking about the offensive side of the football. I'm going to let you weigh in on that.
Well, people, I need an apology because I got a little slack for saying it was like watching cold paint dry. First and foremost, I think they played a complete game, man. The offense looked amazing. We saw them getting the ball out in space, spreading out the defense that Vanderbilt gave them, allowed receivers to make plays. We put it on the ground. We moved guys off the. It was a head on the head. I have no complaints. So somebody at Alabama must have heard that comment from last week. What you think?
Yeah, it sounds like they did. And you know what we call that? You know what Nick Saban calls that? Rat poison. So you put the poison out there, and I think those boys responded. So I say kudos. I thought it was a good game, well-played game. I really think, we're watching this offense start to come together. And again, it's a new season. You've got all these weapons. And I think a lot of times people just have this, expectation that it's Alabama. You're going to, you just, replace guys. It's rinse and repeat. You're never going to miss a beat. And even though you have a Heisman winning quarterback, there's still a lot that goes into making an offense and trying to get that offense sort of cohesive in that chemistry. And I think that we're starting to see more of that. Bryce Young did his thing, 25 completions. He went to 8 different receivers in this football game. Ja'Cory Brooks had a big game, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just from an offensive standpoint, I think that in and of itself, you're starting to see them kind of spread the ball out a little bit and kind of involve more guys. And, while they may not have their necessary go-to receiver, I think Ja'Cory Brooks is starting to really emerge as maybe potentially that guy. What are your thoughts?
I'm still hoping Burden turns the light switch on. I got high hopes for him. The offense is definitely clicking. I think they finally have a concrete offensive line. Some guys that can pull, lead the way for the running backs. I think, Gibbs. And I tell you who stood out to me, that freshman running back, man, that fourth quarter was amazing. I still think we got to feel something out. I think we need a package for Milroe. I'm pulling for him. I think he is a spark. And I think we got to do some type of wildcat, some type of play act. We got to figure something out. Get the man in the game, man. Let me see what he's all about. I think we just got to give him a little bit more experience. But he looked like a prototypical quarterback in that fourth quarter. So I was excited about that. I'm excited about the future as well. I still think we still have to impose our will this upcoming week. But for our receivers are concerned, I'm hoping that Burden do what I think he can do. I've seen the guy smooth as a Cadillac, guys. I'm just hoping that it translates over to this week. They run a decent defense over at Arkansas. It's not the old Houston Nut Arkansas when I played, man. Them boys played man across the ball. So I don't think we'll have any issues there. I think this is I think it's going to be a battle, but we will be battle tested this weekend. But I'm excited. I'm excited
about this one too, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think this is going to be a very difficult matchup. You go to Arkansas. This is a much different Arkansas team than we've seen in years past, and they're coming off a tough loss to Texas A&M 23-21. And let's be real, you know, when you come off a heartbreaking loss like that, when your season is just kind of trending upwards and all of a sudden you kind of take that lump, the mindset changes. And I know those boys at Arkansas under Sam Pittman are going to come in with a chip on their shoulder.
Yes.
They're at home. They're going to play lights out. I think that Arkansas could potentially give Alabama its best game this season. I'm calling it now. I think this could be one of the more difficult matchups for Alabama, not just talent-wise, but just emotionally speaking. Obviously, being on the road, this is going to be a sellout crowd. And, oh, by the way, you've got a dual threat quarterback in KJ Jefferson.
Sweet baby Jesus. We got our hands full these next upcoming weeks. So I think in order for Alabama to have the success that I think that must transpire, that defensive front forward, I'm talking about D tackles. I need some guys. DJ Dale gonna have to come out of his bag. I need these guys to transcend into Jonathan Allen again. We got to get some guys like Deron Payne type of game. And it'll free up linebackers. That's where I think the biggest miscommunication is coming from. Now, granted, we have ends, but I'm talking about the interior D linemen. They're going to have to play. They got to bring it. They got to blow guys off the ball, and they have to disrupt the timing and get in that backfield. Because if they don't, I don't know if our linebackers can run with KJ up that middle, man. And I hope like heck that he doesn't have a game like he had last week, except for when I hope he does, try to reach over the pile and then just it's ours. But I don't think that'll happen quite often. He improves week by week, but I think in order for us to have the success that in order to win and close out the game like I know we should, that defensive front has to play all 70 or 80 plays. They got to blow guys off the snap. I mean, rotate them guys in and out. We got to run different type of stunts. We got to play fast, guys. Otherwise, it's going to be a long night.
I think you make significant points there, and I do want to give a shout out to Henry To'o continuing to show us some things. I know we've been highlighting Will Anderson pretty much. What's not to highlight about Will Anderson, but I think having To'o back there, he's really coming on strong and ended up having, I guess, 6 tackles last week, tackle for a loss against Vanderbilt. And so I think just being able to see other guys step up in a big way, as you said, is going to be huge. I think that defensive front is going to come down in the trenches. And, we know Sam Pittman is a trench guy, right? He's a former offensive line coach at Georgia. He is the O-line guru. And so this is a guy that's going to come in with the game plan, and they're going to be able to move that football. With that being said, I think defensively, Arkansas, they're allowing 26 points per game, 403 yards per game. So I think it's going to be a big task for this Arkansas team to be able to stop Alabama. You've got guys like Bumper Pool, which, by the way, is one of the coolest names in college football, in my opinion. He leads Arkansas, 36 tackles. And then you got Drew Sanders back there, who has been phenomenal, has been sacking the lights out of people. And, and then Dwight McLaughlin has had 2 interceptions. Some guy, he's been putting some things up in the secondary. So with that being said, I think Alabama offensively is going to have to come in with a good game plan and get things done. So, drum roll. Let's get to our prediction. What are you thinking for this one, Mike? What are you thinking?
All right. Now, what I'm thinking personally, I think the game will go, we're going to get above 35. I'm not worried about the offense side for Alabama. As long as Bama does what we did this past week by spreading the ball out. I think this is the problem. Let Bryce be Bryce. Take him off the leash. Let him make all the adjustments. Let him be our Tom Brady. And that will take the pressure off the coach, because I think he has enough. His football IQ is next level. And the boy has the heart of Kobe Bryant. So but just let them go, man. Take them off the leash and let the dog eat, man. Let them hunt, baby. Now, what I'm worried about is our secondary. We have a dual threat quarterback who is going to put pressure on that D line. So these corners this week is going to be tested. So, hey, man, y'all boys better put these seatbelts on these boys this week. This is my prediction. I'm going 48-14.
Ooh. Okay. Well, you're not giving Arkansas a whole lot of credit there, my man. I don't know. I know I messed up last week with Vanderbilt. I gave them a lot of credit. But I'll say, I think the big question, how does Arkansas respond? Difficult loss to Texas A&M, heartbreaking. Ooh, did they dwell on it this week, or are they bouncing back, playing with a chip on their shoulder? I'm going to say the latter of the two. I think that's one of those things. You heard the players talk this week, obviously coming out of that game. Sam Pittman, we're moving past it. We ain't dwelling on it. Get out of my living room. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
They're at home. It's going to be a sellout crowd. It's going to be wild and crazy. This is the best Arkansas team we've seen in a long time. And so I think that they're going to play in their favor. Again, I said October 8th is probably circled on this calendar. Alabama cannot look past this. I think that they'll be able to draw some things from that Texas A&M game as they're watching film on this Arkansas team, come up with a game plan. I think Alabama needs to play a complete game, just as we saw last week. A complete game will be very important in this one. And I think that we will see, hopefully, this offense continue to show more consistency, maybe get some of those guys more involved. We're starting to identify, hopefully, those star receivers in there. Alabama does get the win in this one. I'm going to go 10 points, though. I got a 10-point game on this one. Alabama 41, Arkansas 31.
Ooh, Arkansas, man. Yeah, you putting a lot of faith in them. I want to change mine, but I'm going to stick to my guns, though. I want to change mine.
Well, we'll report back next week, and we'll see who's got the closest one. I don't know.
Brought to you by Alabama Beef Farmers and Ranchers.